Now, the last type of app that we'll be creating is called a chat flow. A chat flow is very similar to a chatbot or an agent, but it has deterministic workflow orchestration. Wow, that's a big word. But basically, what that means is that it allows you in a chatbot type setting to determine what the system or agent should be doing in the background before it provides its response. You'll notice that when we started using chatbots and agents, you put in things like the instructions, the tools, we're not there yet, but the knowledge, and then the agent or system does its thing, and then you have no control over what it's actually doing. In Chatflow, you have very deterministic control of what it's doing. You can say something like, when an agent receives a chat message, it should first do this, and then do this, and then do this, and then do this, and so on and so forth. Okay? So that's why a chat flow is kind of the perfect mixture between a chatbot slash agent and a workflow. It's a chatbot with workflow orchestration like capabilities. Let's go through an example. Click Chatflow, and we'll create a new app here called Movie Researcher. Okay, and then we'll click Create. Perfect. So now you can see that the screen looks very similar to like a workflow screen, right? The only difference here is that an answer and start has already been made for you. So start basically carries whatever the user types in, and then the answer here is basically what the person gets back. Okay? So let's just make it super, 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 super duper easy here. All right, let's actually get rid of this. Let's delete this and then just basically put in an answer here. So we'll get rid of the answer as well. Okay. And we'll say over here, the answer is 42. Okay. So now let's click publish and we'll click preview and we'll say hello and it'll run its workflow and it's at 42. Okay. We'll say it again. Hi, 42. Who? 42. Nothing's happening. But we are clearly deterministically controlling what the system is doing in the background. It is just returning 42. That's it. Okay? So instead, let's actually do something more fun with it. We'll click LLM here, and we'll go over here and change the model to GPT-4o Mini. And in this case, we're going to add in, let me see here. Yeah. In the system here, we're going to say you are an AI assistant that translates messages into French. So you translate the following message into French. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll add in the user's message, which in this case is going to be a variable called sys.query. You can see that we have access to other variables too. Okay, and we're going to turn memory off for now. All right, perfect. That will produce something, right? And then we want this to basically connect to this. So we're actually going to delete this guy here. And we're going to click the plus icon here, answer, and we're going to say, we're basically just going to return whatever the LLM block generates. So we'll call our variables, and then we'll put over here the LLM text. Okay? Let's click Publish Update. Let's click Preview. And then over here, now let's actually do something. So in this case, we'll say, hello, how are you? Perfect. Bonjour, comment ça va? That translate that message into French. So it's, again, very deterministic. We're saying, okay, chatbot, you don't have a brain. We're giving you what to do. You just take the user's input, you pass it through this LLM generation block, which then takes whatever the users put in, puts it into here, and then translates it. Well, it puts it into here in the system prompt. The system prompt then gets executed by the model, and the model then returns a piece of text. That text then gets passed to the answer, which then we see. And again, it does it every single time, right? So we can say something like, you are the best. and we'll get what I assume is you are the best in French. Okay, perfect. Now, this is great. It becomes even better when you integrate tools. Okay. So, for example, in this case, what we're going to do here is we're going to add in a tool. So, click the tool button here. Let me just think. Let me actually do it here instead. So, we'll add in tool here. And let's go ahead and select the Wikipedia tool. Okay. And we need a few input variables for a Wikipedia search. We need the query string and we need the language. Okay, so in this case, we'll just English for language. For the query string, we're just going to pass in whatever the user provides to us in sys query. Okay, perfect. And let me just see if there's anything else here that I need to put in. Yeah, no, I think that should be it. Yeah, okay, perfect. And then what we're going to do is we are going to take whatever Wikipedia gives us and then translate that to French. Okay. So we'll go over here and we'll get rid of this variable and then put in whatever we get back from Wikipedia in text. And then that gets sent to answers. Okay. So we'll click publish on that. We'll click preview. And then we'll say something like, how many gold medals did the US win in the 2024 Olympics? Okay, so it's going to be doing the Wikipedia searches and getting that, and it translates that to French. Perfect. So you can have multiple steps, tools, LLMs, models in your chatbot type format, which is really great. Okay. The last thing that I want to do, wow, it's really translating a lot, everything into French here. I probably should have put like a limit or something like that, which is funny. Okay. The last example that I want to do here is let me get rid of Wikipedia search here. Let me connect it back to the LLM. We'll get rid of this guy here because it doesn't exist anymore. And then we'll say over here, you are an AI assistant. Yeah, so let's do this instead. You're an AI assistant that translates messages into French. Translate the following message into French. Instead, we'll say something like you're an AI assistant that answers questions. Okay, that's it. And then that gets sent over here. So that's already worked. So now if I click refresh on this, okay, let me ask a very kind of softball question over here. Let me see over here. How do you measure weight in gold? Okay. Oh, it's because did we not pass the text? Oh yeah, we didn't pass the text. Whoops. So the user's question is going to be this guy here. Okay, perfect. We'll refresh. We'll try it again. Typically measured in troy ounces, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and then we'll say something like, how about silver? Okay, now this will actually not work. Check this out. Because it says, could you please provide more context or specify what you would like to know about silver? See, it doesn't have a memory right now. Each new message is its own little workflow, if you can imagine that, right? There's no memory, there's no back and forth going on here. So what you can do to enable that is you click the LLM block and then turn on memory, okay? When you do that, it will take into account previous conversations when generating the answer, which is more important. So now that we've turned on memory, let's go ahead and ask the same question, okay? So we'll see, how do you measure weight in gold? Okay, perfect. And now if I say, how about silver? It should actually know that I'm talking about how do I measure the weight. It has context of the previous conversation here. Silver is also measured in troy ounces. There we go. So chatbots are very good for memory type applications as well, especially if you want to integrate a sort of deterministic workflow with an application that requires memory. It requires what the user has said before. Then Chatflow is a great app to create from that. Awesome. It's funny. I just see a question here on my screen from someone. It's funny, like you would expect Chatflow to be more complex and sophisticated because it says for advanced users. But I would argue Chatflow is actually simple. Chatflow, you just define a set of steps for the system to go through every time it receives a chat message. It's actually very simple. Agent is the more complex one. Agent, you don't give it a set of instructions. Instead, you give it a set of tools and knowledge and a goal. And based on that, it finds the solution itself, which is actually, in my opinion, more sophisticated. All right. Awesome.